cheating is involved in every sport, from steroids to PEDs to whatever. But it just sucks, and it hits home when it's like something you're passionate about, and you're like, fuck, man, like I'm out here, my wife's pissed as hell, I'm away from my kids, and this fucker's cutting fish's tails.
Let me tell you something, guys. Fishing magician, man. Fishing magician, man. I'm a fishing magician, man. Fishing magician, man. I'm a
like not super political, like we're being dumb, but like it's a little political, and it causes like, hey, what, you know, what the fuck, why are you talking about him like that, or blah, 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 you know, or shit like that, or like informational, where like, damn, I didn't know that. I've been I've been making my hometown lake the damn, you know, Norfolk train derailment, you know, with my oil shit, you know what I mean? You know, look at the water, it looks like oil water, so.
Right, that's why the bait field's supposed to work.
Yeah, is it going?
Yeah, recording on camera, recording here.
Testicles 1, 2. Let me do. I'm gonna advertise on the Instagram, and then I'll tag you, and then it'll just be like, yo, what is this? Episode 6, technically.
Yeah.
Okay, let's do like a little thing right here.
Testing. There we go, testing. That's good. Talk on the microphone real quick.
Testing. 1, 2, 3.
That's good.
Go.
Perfect.
I'm deleting the sound. EP6, come on. Does it sound good? Yo.
Yeah, it sounds good.
Yo, I'm a rapping fool, whatever the fuck that thing says. Whatever that is. Episode 6. Rolando Nandin. Okay. Whoa, yeah. It's okay if you fall off, dude.
Dude, yeah, that shit will be the first thing, like.
That would be the shit we post. Like, you okay? like you fall off. Okay.
Phone's on silent?
Phone's on silent. It's okay if it's on vibrate, just silent. Cool. And if you have it on vibrate, just put it like down here or in your pocket so it doesn't fist lengths apart right here. Cool. All right, let me know when you're ready, Roland. How do I look? I look cute? Look good? I need to go get my eyebrows done. Ooh, can you grab us some waters from the thing?
Yeah. The talking's gonna be like.
Yeah.
Hey, I came prepared this time, bro.
Oh yeah.
We have coffees here.
His coffee. I bought him a coffee.
No. Those. I see that shit right there.
Shit, you'd have to ask. But honestly, I think Mark does all that. I don't think Jesse drinks any of that. They're in the fridge, in like the little little waters. Yo. Okay, cool. Yeah, man. We've already got kind of people following it, watching it.
I don't even know. I don't even think I fucking know where it's. How do I find it?
I just tagged you.
Oh,
it should pop up.
Page, man.
So we've already got people listening to it. The Homeless Fisherman, Scales and Tails. They're another big podcast here in Texas.
You tagged me?
I just posted it. Yeah.
Here you go.
Thank you, sir.
Oh, it's Albert.
No. Unpacking Yakin on Instagram. Unpacking Yakin.
Oh, on Instagram.
Yeah. Slime me that water and go ahead and take one. Thank you, sir. Hey, and then that's another advertisement point. We could wrap it right here with the pinche Daiwa logo.
All right.
I need it.
He's getting into character right here.
Daiwa supporter, man. That's what I would like.
Okay, let me know. The camera's going?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Let me know when you're ready.
Double check right now. All right, let me write this down. EP6. Full name?
Rolando Nandin.
Nandin. Mentions.
Yeah, I just did
Nandin.
In.
All right. Okay, and the date. Albert, what's the date?
The 5th.
How come I can't follow or something? Or does it have?
Let me see.
Is there like a follow button for it? Or?
All right, just gonna do one more check.
So you can just add it. So this is just for future reference. So you can just add it. Kind of make it however.
All right, recording on camera.
Okay, share.
We're live.
Done. Just go into your story. So it'll be in 24 hours. Unpacking Yakin. There you go. Now you're able to follow it. All right, we ready?
Yeah, we're ready.
Let me get up a little bit higher real quick. Where the fuck is that thing? Oh shit! Hold on. Let's see. Because I sunk down when I sat in it. Okay, perfect. Perfect. Dude, this is so much more comfortable. Last time I was trying to like talk to that girl Mallory, asking her all this shit about, and I was like literally like this. Because at least that base hasn't given out yet. That base is completely worthless. I was literally, however that diameter is, 2 inches, I was basically staying on those 2 inches.
Yeah, dude, this thing's about to give out. So.
Yeah, so that's why I bought this. If I can find another one, I'll get it.
We'll find.
Okay,
yeah.
we ready?
Yeah.
Testicles 1, 2, testicles 1, 2.
good?
Okay, cool. So we're going on episode 6, guys. Welcome back to Unpacking Yakking. So today, let me do a little introduction on who we have on. So this guy is a top 10 kayak angler in the country according to KBN Power Rankings for 2022. He's a pro staff member for Outdoor Alphas, our biggest sponsor here in town that lets us shoot our podcast here. He just came off a first place finish in the Hobie Open at Toledo Bend, correct? A couple weeks ago?
Cattle.
Cattle, my bad. Cattle Lake. And then in 2022, he had a first place finish at Toledo Bend. I got that incorrect there. And 33 total top 10 finishes in state and national wide tournaments in the kayak scene. So this guy, he knows what he's talking about. He knows what he's doing. This is Rolando Nandin. How you doing, man?
Good, man. Thanks, Albert, for having me on, man.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate
Yes, sir. Thank you for being on, man. So today it's going to be chill, man. It's going to be fun. I'm always going to be biased to the kayak guys. I love kayaking. I love bassing. We have history. We were competitive with one another. It's, you're in San Antonio. You're from here. We're now part of Outdoor Alphas together. We're hoping to take this to the next level. We want San Antonio anglers to be put on the map for the hard work we do. I think we've been forgotten. I think San Antonio, when you think of Texas bass fishing, you don't think of San Antonio.
Right.
And I think you and anybody coming out of this town and doing everything we do for the community, we're going to change that. So I'm looking forward to the future, and clearly you're a stick man. So let's go ahead and start off like we do all podcasts. Let's get to know you. Who are you? When did you start fishing? Who got you into fishing? How did you, what made this when did you start loving fishing like a passion?
Yeah, man. I mean, shoot, I've been living most of my life. I mean, I've lived here my entire life here in San Antonio, and had family in Del Rio, and I used to travel back.
Is this where you were born?
I was born. No, actually, I was born in Mexico.
Oh,
But
you got papers?
Yes, I do.
Okay, cool. Dual citizenship?
Dual citizenship.
That's awesome. Okay, cool. Dual citizen. Okay, so born in Mexico.
Yep. But I pretty much spent my entire life here. My parents actually lived here when I was born over there. So.
Okay.
But I used to travel a lot back to Del Rio because I had some family, and we used to fish Lake Amistad in the state park there. And my cousins really, I fish a lot with them there and really got into it. So we do a lot of bank fishing back then, of course, right?
At Lake Amistad.
Lake Amistad.
So
yeah.
that would be your first home lake.
Probably. Yep.
Okay,
Yeah, my
cool.
first home lake. As a kid, when I was really young, I used to go run around at Woodlawn Lake.
Okay,
And,
heck yeah.
yeah.
Shout out to Woodlawn Lake. You can catch everything from catfish to dead bodies to crack, whatever.
Exactly.
You don't know what you're going to get there. So you grew up fishing Woodlawn Lake here, but over there, you really fell in love with it, fishing, bank busting like we all started at Lake Amistad.
Yes,
with your
sir.
cousins, you said?
Yep, cousins.
Okay.
Yep.
So how old were you doing that, would you say?
Man, I was probably in my 12, 13 years old. We used
So
to
you
go run
didn't
the bank.
fish until then?
Well, I would fish Woodlawn Lake, but you create your own little bottle reels.
Oh, you were hand lining.
Hand lining.
Dang.
And making little nets out of screens to catch bait.
Okay, bait. Yeah, dude, I get that.
Yep. So grew up doing a lot of those, here and there. Of course, my brother used to be a big fisherman back in the days. Brawny Lake and Calaveras. We used to.
Is
hit
he
up
older
those.
than you?
Was a lot older than me.
Okay.
He rests in peace now. But
Okay. Shout out to him.
Yep. But a lot of the fishing that I used to do with him too. And,
So would you say he's the one that got you into fishing more than your dad, more than your grandpa?
Yeah,
Everybody has somebody different.
Yeah, general fishing and my brother, and then bass fishing. I'd probably have to be my cousins.
Your cousins. Okay, cool. And do they still fish today?
They do still fish today. They don't live in Del Rio anymore. They're up in Houston.
Okay.
So-
Okay. Up in Houston. That's funny how we say that.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
That maybe Del Rio is technically
Del Rio-
geographically
yeah.
more north, but that's how technically up in Corpus Christi, and you're like, all right.
No, it's
I got you. So that's cool. So your cousins, are they big supporters still?
yeah. No, they
see
do.
You, they see you doing well, and they're like,
do,
"Fuck, I
they
taught
do.
him everything I knew." Cool. So you got there, and then when did you Okay, so that's you bank busted. You started learning with your cousins, your family, your brother. When did you start getting off the bank, and how was that?
Yeah, I didn't really didn't get started off the bank probably till 2004. 2014, man.
And if you don't mind me asking, how old are you?
I'm 40 now.
40. Okay,
Yeah,
cool. So
40.
so you've been fishing for 30 plus years.
Yeah, 30 plus years.
So 2000 when you said?
2014 is when I really got off the bank. Like really, I mean, I actually owned a boat because I inherited it from my brother, but I didn't really do a lot of fishing because it was a recreational boat, right? So it wasn't really suited for fishing. And but 2014 is when I really got into the whole really tournament scene and fishing off.
2014 is when you. Do you remember your first tournament?
I definitely know it was Cats. It was the one of the oldest running kayak trails in Texas, well, in the nation, really.
Used to be ran by ACK.
ACK, yep. And their first tournament, I think, was in 2017, but I was already on a kayak messing around on it in 14, 15, but I really didn't get into the tournament scene until about 17.
Okay, cool. And I'm glad you're on this week because a couple weeks back we had on the homeless fisherman Marshall, and him and I have more of a sour taste of the tournament scene. So it's refreshing that you're still out there grinding.
Yeah.
Just with all the BS that's happened, the cheating, the so on, the so forth, the just the monotony of doing the tournament scene. I've got real turned off from it. But it's good to see that you're thriving in it, you're still in it. So it's cool. I think the one cool thing too about Outdoor Alphas is we have every facet of anglers on the pro staff, from guys that do adventure fishing like myself, guys that do tournament scenes and clearly kick butt at it like you. We've got a guy, Ray, that does saltwater every other day, so it's cool. So going back to your story, we've got 2014. Did you go buy your first kayak?
Yeah.
So high school, out of high school, first couple jobs. Did you go to college? You didn't go to college?
Yeah, I went to college, graduated from UTSA here.
Okay.
And, just did sales, did a couple of different jobs. I waited tables while I was going to college, right?
Sweet.
After a while, I don't know I can't remember who it was that invited me out to go fishing. And
So if you're 40, you started kayak bass fishing in your late 20s.
Yeah, I was like late 20s.
28, 29.
Yeah.
Just doing math in my head quick. Okay, so that's crazy. That's a completely different story, from myself, from Marshall, and again, that just shows you that anybody and everybody can bass fish. So so you went to college, you were into sales. Did you have other hobbies?
Actually, when I was going to college, I was racing motorcycles.
Oh.
CMRA, Texas. I used to have, do competitive racing in Texas, and then did that for a little bit. That's super expensive. I mean, any hobby's expensive, right?
Yeah, you're fishing's expensive.
But fishing's expensive. Everything's expensive when you make it a full-time thing. Yeah. So did that for a little bit, while I was going to college, and I just know I started too late. It was one of those things where, you had, a bunch of teens and stuff that were supported with parents, dishing a lot of money for them to race. And it's just not a
kind of the similar structure where you can pick up sponsors, I'm guessing.
Yeah, it's same thing.
Gotcha.
Gotcha. Yep. It's just, they get started a little bit earlier, and it was just a little tough to get that going off the ground until I went back to my roots of just, finding another hobby to do. Right. And so I did, I learned how to play golf.
I'm assuming you're married, you have any kids?
Married, 2 girls.
Sweet.
And
that was probably not the safest thing to be racing motorcycles.
No.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. So you were like, let me pick a little more safe hobby.
Yeah.
And then you picked up a kayak. And you remember the first kayak you bought?
Man, it was was an ocean, one of those
ocean kayaks.
Ooh,
dude, I love hearing everybody's first kayak, because now you're in a Hobie, decked out in the $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 boat. It is what it is, right? But the first kayak, an ocean kayak, and what'd you do? Pick it up off Craigslist? Facebook?
I did pick it off of Craigslist.
There you go.
And then
them youngins don't even know what that is anymore. They're like, what? Craigslist,
and then I upgraded to an academy version kayak. It was like a Pilot Pescador, I think it was.
Ooh, I had a Pescador Pro 100.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Okay, and then so 2014, you pick up a ocean kayak off Craigslist, moved to something else, and then what got you interested in competitive kayak angling? Is it just you got that competitive nature? Is it?
I do, yeah. I've always been competing in something else since it's high school. I always play sports or doing something, right? I was racing motorcycles. When I left that, I was like, man, I kind of want to do something else. I picked up golf for a little bit, learned how to play golf, but eventually I think I got invited out fishing, and I was like, man, I kind of miss going back out doing what I used to do as a kid, and so I kind of got back into that, and then I got invited out on a kayak, and I think one of the first people that
Who invited you?
actually, I think it was Keith Villegas.
Keith, damn, Keith, he's gonna be on here soon. He's only off on weekends, so we'll swing that when we can. So, Keith Villegas invited you out. Where did he take you? To a secret spot?
No, we went to
Meet me at Woodlawn.
Placid.
Placid. Oh, back when it was full.
Back when it was
It's almost, they're almost done. I'm excited to see how being a river guy, I like that it's low. It's more in its natural state, but I'm also excited to see if the same effect of when the water left, you have that same effect of the big girls starting to kind of pick their own spots back. You know, I'm excited to see what happens. So that's cool. And I had something, man, I lost it, train of thought there. Let me think. You were talking about the Keith told you that, kayak that, you competitive. I'll come back to it. Yep. So you started doing that, and then you got wrapped up with cats.
Cats, yep.
Gotcha. So your first cats tournament, do you remember how you did? They used to have a bunch, right? They had like a social.
They had a social.
Competitive.
Yeah.
It was like you could get your feet wet. You didn't have to go jump in right away.
Right.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I think I did one or two social events, and then I thought I had what it took to get into their pro level,
yeah,
right?
To the pro level.
But no, man, that really was really quick eye opener, man. These guys, they were good.
You were like, damn, okay, these guys can fish.
Yeah, these guys can fish, man. And so, I got my butt handed to me, multiple times, and then that's what kind of sparked it, right? It was just kind of like, okay, I gotta see if I can get better.
I feel that. I feel that I have the same thing. It's like, and I could tell that we click on that sense of like when somebody kind of beats your ass in something, you're like, fuck that. I'll be back. I'll be back. I jumped in. I didn't know what I was doing, but I'll be back. Like, I know what I'm doing, but I don't know what I'm doing.
Exactly.
And cats, they fish the same 7 lakes. So, same 7, 8 lakes. So those guys that have been doing it for years and years, they knew where to go, how to go. And I didn't like that cats was kind of more like, it seemed like Central to North Texas stuff. Like,
because it was based out of Austin.
Yeah. So us down here, they'd have like 1 or 2. There's like Coletto Creek and maybe a few other southern lakes, but the most part it was like, Bass Drop I love, but that's still Central. There's like Oaks or Fayette.
That's still a little ways.
North. So I mean, I can't remember them all. I did cats very, very little. Like I did the social a couple times, did the pro a couple times, but this was back when like it was super inconvenient, dude. It was like you had to fucking have a camera. You had to have an SD card. We had to sit in a line for hours to check your SD card. One time I got disqualified for, or fish disqualified for like my PFD strap like flapping in the wind, and again you're using a damn fucking 2015 like a Nokia. Like, bro, technology has made tournament fishing a lot better with like iAngler and your phones and cell reception increasing across the state. You can there's a lot of freaking places where I don't have cell phone service. So tournaments where you have to submit shit. I got to take off an hour of my tournament time to sit at the marina to use the Wi-Fi if they have Wi-Fi. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
no, it was really inefficient back then, but it's a lot different now. It's actually
that was a big turnoff. The inefficiency was a big turnoff. When I was like, bro, and I get it. I can't even imagine the type of cheating and bullshit that was happening then that we just didn't. They just, I mean, you think about all the precautions they take now, and
I know.
I mean, we talked about it on episode 4 or 3, which we're gonna kind of save for a rainy day. Is that the guy that was cutting tails, and then the guys that were cutting boards, dude, the Nokia phone, like the separate camera days. Oh my god, and you didn't even know if your shit was in focus. Like it was so inconvenient, So cool. So then, you started getting some comfortability under your belt. You started getting some W's. When were you like, all right, now this is who I am, what I am? What year really changed that for you in your bass fishing saga?
I did a couple events, and I think my first event that I placed decent was in 2019 maybe, or 2018, and it was one of the Central Lakes, right? I think I got 4th place or something like that, and I was like, man, all right, I've worked at it, gotten up there, and at least I'm cut a little check now and figure it out. And then I remember Bassmasters in 23. I think they announced in 2020 they were going to open up the trail, Bassmasters. We're gonna open up a kayak trail.
Okay.
And that kind of what kind of triggered me to kind of want to get into it. And I was like, well, shoot, they're gonna be coming to here in Texas, and I think I did my first event in Lake Fork.
Okay.
And I ended up doing well. I think I placed top 10, and I mean, it just fired me up to really kind of continue doing that national stuff to see, how good I could get to compete with these guys, because they do it on a totally different level. I mean, I still try to dedicate a lot of time to my fishing, but I still got other things that I have to, other obligations.
Gotcha. And that's what I want to get into as well, the other obligations. So you've got all these accolades for fishing, but you still work a full-time job?
I do.
Gotcha. What do you do for a living, if you can say?
Yeah, no, I'm a mortgage loan officer, so I do loans for...
mortgage loan with everything going on right now. You're like either somebody's best friend or enemy. Okay, and then so you do that full-time. Obviously, you said you've got 2 daughters. I've got a daughter of my own. Got a wife. You got a mortgage to pay. Got a life to live. And around all that, you're still kicking butt and taking names in the kayak scene.
Yeah, man. I still try to do it at least. I just got back from Tennessee, which was the event over at in Chickamauga.
How'd you do there?
There I got 11th place.
Okay,
that was a Bassmasters. It was
how many anglers?
207.
Sheesh. So there you go, man, dude. And that's all over the fucking country, right?
Actually, you know what? I take that back. That one was 155, I think.
Still a lot of guys. A lot of good guys fishing. And now this is just an offshoot question. The kayak scene, the tournament scene. Do you know that a lot? I mean, so if you're comfortable with saying, what type of money are you taking home winning this? The Caddo Lake.
10,000. The check is usually 10,000 or up, depending on how many. If it's a maxed out field, for Hobie, I think maxed out is 225 anglers. So
that's a good bit of money, man. And how often are these tournaments held?
Every month.
Every month. Could potentially.
So there's like 9 events.
So a guy could technically just full time fish and make average income in San Antonio. We look this up all the time, is like 28,000 for a single person, 45-ish for a household. So you could technically make a living fishing.
You could, if you're single.
If you're
single, I think if you have a family and kids, that's probably not the best way to go about it.
To hope you place and win 10 grand every month. I gotcha. But it can be done. How many guys would you say fish on the scene full time? Like they're lucky, they're not lucky. Maybe they retired, maybe they have other business ventures. How many guys kind of swing it with a life and a family like you, and how many guys would you say do it full time?
There's a lot of guys that actually do fish with the family, but I don't think they're full time. The only ones, I think there's only a handful that actually do it full time, and I think the handful really, I don't think they have a family. I think it's just them.
Single guys. Yeah, gotcha.
I think the industry for kayak bass fishing like that is not quite there to support a family man. You know what I'm saying? Because the money's just not there. I like the boat scene, right? In the boat scene, you win one tournament, it could hold you up for the year.
I've seen some of those FLW tournaments, man. They're running 250,000 on the big ones to
100,000.
100,000. Yeah, gotcha.
So we're not. The kayak scene's not quite there yet. But
I think it'll get there.
It's getting there.
It's gonna get there because what I can relate to this is you have MMA and jiu-jitsu, and jiu-jitsu, there's no fucking money, man. That's kind of like the way I see kayak bass fishing. It's gonna get there eventually. Jiu-jitsu's barely getting on the map.
It's fairly new. I mean, it still is at infant stages, right? So
it's gonna get there eventually. And once that money comes, it's gonna come.
No, but at the same time, you can do multiple events where some of these guys are constantly, they're really good, and they're placing every time they go out there, and they're cashing some checks.
There you go.
Yeah, so it's possible, but you got to put your time on the water.
Yeah.
It's the lake fishing, because most of the stuff is lakes. Occasionally you get to river systems, but these guys have everything, man. Electronics, 15 rods, top of the line stuff. I mean, they're dedicated to that stuff, man. So it's pretty tough, and if you're not really spending the time on the water, you're leaving it a lot to chance.
Yeah. And that's why I'm glad that we're gonna have so many different walks of not only just life, but walks of types of fishing. And this is going to be more of maybe somebody who's ready to take that next leap to go from the weekend warrior to the guy who wants to go into the tournament scene. I really want to focus on the tournament scene with you for this episode.
Yeah.
You know, obviously we'll have multiple times that you're on, but tournament setups. Excuse me. What would you say is like, man, a minimum requirement of things that you would need to be successful in one of the Hobie Classic scenes or one of the Hobie scenes or one of the KBN or the KBF or any of the that we just mentioned? What would you say is like a bare minimum, the guy out there that's like just getting by but still placing because he's a good angler, he's got he's got a good fish IQ, I guess, for a lack of a better way.
Right.
Like what do you think would you say is like the minimum requirement? Because these are some serious tournaments. We're talking about $10,000,
200 plus men,
200 plus men. We're talking, basically glorified, you've got top of the line kayaks, everything.
Yeah.
So what would you say is like a minimum requirement for like somebody who has the monetary means to do what you do, but also like looking to get into it because they're competitive, they fish forever, and they want to take that next step in their fishing career?
Yeah, I think things changed just for this year. Last year, you were able to launch from any place, right? And a lot of the people that were being able to just kind of do those little hidden places to launch from is you can't do that anymore. So that kind of eliminates a lot of those backwaters that you could do. And now you got to launch from very specific areas. By doing that, you got to be your waters. If you were very comfortable with backwaters, it's kind of limited now. So your knowledge, your IQ for just understanding bass, I think one of the things that you really have to be good at is know what these fish are doing on what type of season you're in, what you're fishing, right? Because if you don't know where to look for these things, I mean, you can have all the best electronics, all the best equipment, and you're not going to put yourself around the fish at the right time. So I think anybody can do it. You don't necessarily have to have a freaking, Hobie decked out $15,000, $20,000 because a lot of these kayaks, they get up there. Yeah, they're sticker price just to get the boat is set, you look $6,500.
$6,500 for a new, post inflation. We've got $6,500 for a kayak. Yeah, let's say the new craze is live scope. We'll get into that.
Yeah.
That's a $2,200 unit. That's not including any of your rods or reels.
Yeah.
I think if you were bare bones, maybe 4. I mean, if you showed up with less than 4 rods, that's tough.
I would say that, for someone to get into this, you definitely have to have a pedal kayak.
Okay. So the scenes that you're in, because there's several different scenes. The one tournament scene that I still partake in is really because it's out of respect for the guys. They're awesome, they're fun, they're a good time, but also just because they allow like small motors. I fish the Kayak West Texas scene still because they fish all the lakes where like our family property is. They fish Ivy, Brady, Brownwood, all those. I love those guys. They're super fun. They've always been supporters of like Manny and I. They've just always been there, watched us, and they're just fun guys. It's like totally different from like the Austin based scene where it's more seems gate kept, seems like they don't really like you if you're not from there, seems like if you don't really look like them, they don't like you. The West Texas guys, while at the just face value, you're like, damn, West Texas, they're nice, they're real friendly, real nice, they're a real fun crowd. But for these tournaments that you're doing, are you allowed to have motors, or it's just all manpower?
Hobie is all manpower.
Okay,
so Hobie's all manpower.
So pedal kayak at a minimum.
Okay, yeah, that's what I.
So nobody fishes with just paddles.
No, they do, and there are some guys that do well. I think if you're gonna do it full time, it's gonna be cumbersome, and it's gonna eventually weigh down on you, and it's gonna work against you in some lakes.
Okay,
you know what I'm saying. So I think at minimum, eventually, people end up with a pedal kayak when you're doing.
They win some money. They'll save up. They'll do what they got to do. Okay, so pedal kayak.
But you could do it, right? Pedal kayak, I'd say
rods. How many rods minimum?
I would say at least anywhere from 4 to 6.
4 to 6.
Yep.
Some guys have 15, 20, which is insane, but
yeah, see, I mean, 16 is probably you could carry 20 probably, but it's just be way a lot. I mean, 16 sounds like a lot, right? But
I struggle with 4 on the river. Sometimes I'm like 3, 4. Do I bring my big swim bait rod?
Yeah.
That's 5. Fuck, it's a lot.
I think because in the river, you're constantly having to keep you're conscious about your points.
It's not only just fishing. It's your body is you're riding rapids, you're fighting water. So I'm planning on going this Friday.
Yeah.
Friday looking like flash floods. And obviously we'll make a safe, conscientious decision. If we're not gonna go, we're not gonna go. But if it's raining and a little cold, I'm going.
Yeah.
Right. But on the river, it's different from the lake. So the lake, you can get away with taking more rods, but you can still be outlandish, like, 15, 16. I don't even think I've got 15 lures I have confidence in.
Yeah.
As crazy as that sounds.
And what's crazy is that I do sometimes, take, up to 16 rods. But I think I've been being able to cut it down to 13 now. But, it's a grab and go, right? In the tournament scene, every second counts, because the thing is the last thing you want to do is not have a line in the water, and so that's probably that's important, right? You got to make sure you maximize your time fishing.
So that's the purpose of having multiple rods.
That's the only purpose, right? It's not that you need them all. It's something breaks, something backlashes, something happens to your equipment that you got to quickly just grab another one and go. But so we're down to just a simple pedal kayak. Your IQ, like you mentioned it, your IQ, you got to really know your bass, because these guys, they really know their stuff when it comes to bass. I mean, you almost think they have pet fish, dude, because it's like they're constantly pulling 5-pounders out. Yeah. So we warrior, sometimes when you're a weekend warrior, we all been there, right? Is we go out and we catch numbers, right? Oh, we caught 25 bass. Okay, but what was your best 5? What did it weigh, right? Or what was the length on them, right? Now, like, these guys specifically go out with an agenda and a target, right? And they go and accomplish it, right? They go and get 5 big fish when it counts, not when it's Tuesday day, nobody's fishing on the water.
It's Saturday, scheduled day,
crazy busy,
25-mile-an-hour winds,
boats buzzing right by you. Like, they're getting it done when it's the hardest time. So you got to be able to do that and perform on those kind of conditions.
You're competing at the highest level of bass fishing.
Yeah.
I mean, basically, if you watch the podcast or you're into the fishing scene, Hobie and any of these KBN, the guy Mark Pendergraph, he won the whole thing last year or something like that.
Yep.
Like, dude, that was at PK, right?
Yep.
That is top. I mean, these are the leading edge kayak anglers. They're fishing all across the country.
Yeah.
So, and they have lake fish down. Like, at one point, I felt like I had river fish down, and lake's different because every lake's different. Every season's different. Like you're saying, they know their stuff, and that, I mean, it's crazy. It's cool to have you on, man, on the pod, on the team, the whole nine, because I mean, you're competing at the highest level of kayak bass fishing, and it's and been successful. So whenever we do venture off and doing multiple times on, man, we can talk tips and do that stuff. But really, I want to get a basis of who you are, what you are, and to if you are interested in doing what you do. Everybody has said it. I've said it a million times. Roland said time on the water. Nothing beats time on the water, right? If you're not committed and you can't dedicate, how many days? Okay, so let's stay on track here. So you said pedal kayak, whatever that means to you, in the individual, a minimum of 6 to 10 rods, and that's because you need to maximize having lure in the water.
Yeah, and the thing is that you're going to different fisheries, right? So when you're traveling and you're going to different fisheries, you sometimes some fisheries are not. You can't throw big baits because there's not big fish.
You can't throw big baits. You gotta throw gotta throw net rigs. You gotta and see, that's what kills me, man. I don't. So there's a lot of things that kill me with the tournament scene. I don't like the monotony of it, the sketchiness of it, the unknowns about like who's doing what these days, because we were talking about it as well a couple weeks ago. It's just not, the kayak scene got a really bad, I mean, fishing and cheating is involved in every sport, from steroids to PEDs to whatever, but it just sucks and it hits home when it's like something you're passionate about, and you're like, fuck, man, like I'm out here, my wife's pissed as hell, I'm away from my kids, and this fucker's cutting fish's tails, or or this guy's doing this, or this guy's editing pictures on the water, or whatever, right? And it's like, all this stuff, a $6,000-$7,000 boat. Yeah, they say your average rod combo is $250. You're saying you need 10. That's $2,500. You're saying, you're well into 12 to 15,000. This is a car. This is a daily driver. Yeah, not even your electronic. This is a daily driver, and to find out that people go as far as to cheat to do it, and you've just done everything by the book, it's so.
But I think just for the people watching this stuff, I mean they're a lot more strict now, and there's the apps are gotten really good to where your coordinates are on there. Cheating is, I think cheating is very difficult on that level. You know what I'm saying? That, and versus like monthlies and things like that. So when you're talking about like the national level stuff, I can't think of anything where you're gonna get caught. It's gonna catch up to you because you know what? A lot of people don't realize fish they have their own thumb. It's like our own thumbprint. They got their own print, and people can actually review the fish and tell whether it's the same fish or not. Oh yeah. And obviously people that don't fish a lot, they're gonna be like, hey, they all look green and they all got scales, right? But at the end of the day, there is ways to determine whether it's the same fish or not, and people are trained to do that.
Oh yeah, no, I remember the highest level of competitiveness that I've ever done with kayak fishing and that I've placed and won and money and just been involved was in 2017 with the River Bassin Trail, and then ended up winning that whole entire trail. Got invited to the Tournament of Champions at Lake Fork for yak for
nice.
it. I placed 11th out of 200 anglers. I was the only guy without electronics. I literally just fishing off of pure instinct. And I remember like the guy who won first place, I still follow him on Instagram. He was talking about the lie detector test they had to take, and so I mean, I only won like basically my entry fee back and all that, but I mean, the first place guy won about 10 grand, and I mean, everybody was pretty. That was probably my best year of fishing ever. 2017. That's when I took it to the next level. Won the tournament scene with the river scene here in Texas, and then with Drew Gregory and the River Bassin Trail, and then I had got invited to the Tournament of Champions, and I literally was fishing up against like fucking Guillermo, all those motherfuckers, dude, all those sticks, and I had nothing, no electronics. I took my unit and I was like, I don't even know how to read it, so I left it in the cabin at Lake Fork Marina, and day one I put up 2 fish, 14 inches, 28 inches, and I was like, yeah, this is how I expected it to go. Never fished Lake Fork, never been there, didn't scout it.
Any cast can be a 10-pounder, man.
Guess what? When we got back, 62 of like 150 anglers blanked, and I was sitting in like 30th place with 28 inches. I was like, I could do this. Next day, I got on the computer at night, looked up where I saw some fucking dinner plate size pads, and I told the guy that I went with that was it was 2 guys from the scene that had got accepted to go, and I was like, look, man, I don't know about you, but I think I got a shot to play, so I'm gonna go to this area if you want me to like go there first and you go take the truck to another spot. He's like, nah, I'll fish around it, man. I really have no chance at this. I'm just fishing the fish. So, dude, I went there. I had a Pescador Pilot whenever they had the fucking pedal. Took it 2 miles up to some Silver Dollar, some big old dinner plate, and sat there all day, caught 98 inches day 2.
Damn.
If I would have fished there twice, I would have won.
You would have probably won. You would have won.
I had won the most improvement of the tournament. I won like a set of those Supernova lights, because I had went from 28 to 98 in a day. And I was just thinking, like, at that point, I was like, man, I gave it my all and I did really well, but I don't think I could do this every month like that. Like, but the IQ, your understanding of the level of understanding that I could junk fish in pads all day.
Yeah,
I'll get bit. I'll get bit on a frog in the morning.
Yep.
I'll get bit on. I went from a frog to I was literally making shit up because I didn't have anything. I think I threw like not a spark shed, but something similar to this with like maybe a cane thumper on a little belly weighted on a spinning rod, and I was using it like a mini swim bait because I was swim baiting at the time, but I was using it like a mini swim bait, throwing it on a pad, letting it fall in, and just they would come and get it. I was just that's my thing is I never want electronics. I never want anything. And that's why I do the rivers. And I fish lakes all the time now, too, with no electronics and just straight fish IQ because I just... it gets me at peace. I'm not doing it at competitive levels to where, I've got all this money. I had to pay. What are the entry fees?
Almost 200, 295.
295. Okay, not terrible. I was expecting higher, but now that sounds crazy. That's a fuckload of money to fish, but it's just I was expecting higher because the payouts are so high.
Yeah,
but 295 to fish. I mean, you want to give yourself the best chance. I don't know if I could throw away 295 with just hoping that my fish IQ could get me to the, you know what I mean?
No, and a lot of the times it can, man. You know, we're fishing in the spring, right? So a lot of the times these fish are, you know, they're running, you know, you're catching them when they're making a move to the bank. So, you know, those are good times. But it gets a little bit tougher when you're not fishing that prime season, right? Prime season, spring, right? For bass fishing, most of your tournaments are held during that time. So, you know, anybody with a really good fishing instinct can pull it off. You don't necessarily need to have the electronics, but the problem is when you have someone that has really good fish instincts and they know their electronics.
Oh yeah, those guys are double threat.
Then it gets they start being more consistent, and then you start becoming more of a hit or miss.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? So yeah, you can place really well and probably win one here and there, but
if you're shooting for AOY,
if you're shooting for
AOY, you need to know your electronics and have the fish IQ. You need to be Steph Curry. You need to shoot the three, but be able to drive in. Right?
Yeah.
He's changed the game of basketball in ways that, you know, that haven't been seen in a minute. So that's what you have to do well with these type of places, or these type of events, is not only have not only be an opportunistic angler and be like, there's a fucking log right there. I've done it 1,000 times. I throw a buzz bait over that. I'm getting bit. You have to know how to fish like that, but also know where some waypoints are.
And you're around
pre-fish.
people, right? So like that stuff gets fished. All the obvious stuff gets fished. In practice, it gets hit.
Because you're 200 guys that have been on the water as many hours as you.
Yeah.
So every spot that you throw a lure,
someone's
they've already done it
10 times.
Yeah. Like I said, I love getting out there in the kayak West Texas scene and just fishing, because some of those lakes I fish all the time throughout the year, like Ivy, like Brady, like Brownwood, and I don't necessarily need I don't necessarily need some of the electronics to do well, but I do see the guys with electronics, and it's crazy because I see some guys stay in the same 200 yards the whole fucking day.
Yeah, no.
And kill it. Just sit there, just right there with their little pedals, just in reverse. Just, right there looking at their screen. Okay, so that's cool, man. So let's see. We got the pedal kayak, the 6 to 10 rods. Time on the water is invaluable. That's literally invaluable.
And a little something about time that, a lot of people say that, right? But what they don't really kind of understand sometimes about that is that it's got to be quality time on the water. Right. So if you want to go do tournament fishing, you got to, when I mean time on the water, doesn't mean go with your buddies and just swing a rod, for 8 hours. And just,
you mean going with the purpose?
You got to go with the purpose.
Gotcha.
Right. You got to have a strategy, right? You got to understand, because, you're no longer looking at what's at the bank, right? You got to understand what's underwater, right? So you got to start marking things and things like that. So, you going out and spending time on the water, yes, that's part of it. But the other piece is the quality and spending the quality time doing the research that people can't, the stuff that you can't see on the surface.
And then you always have the possibility of being in Texas, just the weather, just shitting on your whole strategy. Let's say you found big bites offshore, but day of the tournament, it's 25 mile an hour winds.
You can't do it. Yep.
You can't do it. You're like, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Then you're all. I will say the one thing that I like about the weather being so crazy in Texas is that I feel like that's the equalizer. Is that because you're all fishing the same conditions, then that puts everybody back, and fuck your electronics, fuck all that. That puts everybody back on, how do I not die?
Yeah.
How do I catch fish? And how do I fight the planet, right, while doing it?
And the thing is that these national events are 2 days, right? So you can't go get out, the local tournaments are 1 day, right? So you can get lucky on those and 2-day tournaments, you gotta preserve sometimes your areas, or you got to determine, there's when I won Toledo Bend last year, I was around a ton of people. I knew the next day 2, that I wasn't going to be able to go to the same spot and pull the same amount of fish out of it,
because people saw you,
people saw me, there was a ton of people, and I was like, man, it's not going to work. So but my practice I had a backup spot. I went to my backup spot, and I ended up doing better in my backup spot. So, things like that, right? So when you practice, you can't be a one-trick pony.
That sounds crazy, right? Practicing for tournaments, but it's part of it, man.
Yeah.
This is the side of fishing that I also want to expose to people, where it's like guys like Rolando. I mean, they take that shit seriously. Like, it's not just like, oh, me and my dad are going fishing on a Saturday. It's like, now I'm going to practice offshore fishing with a Ned rig. I'm going offshore fishing with an A rig. I'm going offshore fishing with a football head.
You're a big fan of swim baits, right?
Yeah.
So big swim baits is a huge deal now offshore.
Yeah.
So like, I've been playing with that. So So now I own all these.
It's cool to see the swim bait universe go from like, guys in California in the 90s and late 80s to now you're top of the line. Even, dude, I've seen like freaking, I know Kevin Van Dam, he retired recently, but guys in that tournament scene, they're flipping, bull shads. They're flipping bull glides. They're flipping, and these are guys that are fishing for six figures. Yeah. It's just crazy that swim baiting went from,
it's deadly, man. And it's one of those techniques that if you're really good at it, it's a lot of fun with electronics.
Oh yeah.
It's a lot of fun with
those
electronics.
Guys doing the live scope and all
deal,
that.
Yeah, and things like that. It takes a certain level of skill and technique, man. It's not just simple, looking at them, right? And they're gonna bite every time. I think when it first came out, it was a lot easier, and I think a lot of these guys were, you could get away with getting a lot more bites when it first came out, but man, fish get conditioned to things.
Fish learn. Yeah, they learn. Fish learn. They're smart.
Yeah, and live scope is gonna become just that same thing like when the umbrella rig came out, right? It was a big thing. Fish were biting it like crazy, and now you just you don't hear about it dominating as much.
You think in the future live scope will push fish off because they're like, dang, we're getting bugged.
I already see it. I see it. I mean, I can watch fish run from you, so you gotta be at least 50 feet to 60 feet away from them. Otherwise, you can tell that the bigger fish, they didn't get big for being stupid, man, and they already know when something's not right around their environment. A lot of people say, well, I can catch 20 something fish like on the bank. That's where you find all your buckfish. Your bigger fish are always bigger fish always love to have the best hiding places. They take over the best habitat, and that's usually anywhere from that 20 to 15 foot range.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
So that's cool. So let's leave it at that 3 bullet points today for getting into it. Again, man, like I said, we click. Everybody I have on, I'm gonna end up clicking with, but with you, we can literally have a podcast just on one technique, right? And then another technique. So 3 tips that I would say if you're seriously trying to get into the scene. Obviously, if you've never kayak fished or you've never fished in general, start small, start local. Just practice practice around your where you live and get good that way. But if you're about it, you've been fishing for years. Maybe you used to do tournaments in a boat. Now you want to transition to a kayak because that's crazy to say that it's cheaper, but it is. You got a quality kayak. They can range anywhere from, I say the low end would be like Pelican makes a pedal to like a Hobie, which is in 7,000 ish.
Yep.
So, and then you've got 6 to 10 rods. When it comes to, which I definitely will probably have this just on Roland and I's podcast when we don't have guests, is break down like why some rods and reels cost $500 and some rods and reels cost $50.
Right.
And just so 6 to 10 quality rods that you're going to not break, are going to they're going to be lighter, they're going to be quicker, they're going to be more effective, they're going to be easier to use. They have chips, they don't backlash. That's all again, those rods are why there's that's why there's a Ferrari and there's a Camry, right? It's just different levels of quality. And then the last thing would be quality time on the water. Not just time on the water, that's very important, but quality time. And with tournament fishing in lakes, that's going to consist of going out on days when, if it's the only day you can go out that week, I'm sure some days you're just like, fuck, I just want to fish. But you have to practice
you can't be
certain ways. You can't just like let that urge to, and that's where I'm a sucker for the urge.
And when the conditions are not suited, you still got to go out, because tournament kayak fishing, unless it's lightning and crazy winds, you're fishing in the rain, you're fishing in all conditions. So you got to practice even when the weather's not good.
Yeah, because honestly, that'll happen with fishing.
Dude, almost every tournament you go out to, it's never a nice calm day.
Yeah. Oh no. No. Never. The guys at the West Texas scene this last weekend, I couldn't make it because we were just getting back from. We were gonna go to Florida. We didn't go to Florida. Long story short, it was on last Saturday, and dude, it was like 25-mile-an-hour winds. Everybody was saying it was super deadly. Like guys just didn't even leave coves, just kind of fished around coves, and they still put up 90 inches. But for Ivy, that's nothing.
Yeah.
So
no, it's Ivy.
it wasn't a whole lot that could easily been a triple-digit lake if it was a good day. So now I want to transition into something real quick. Just going for we talking about rods and reels. Yep. So those are the three big things: quality time on the water, 6 to 10 quality reels, and then of course a pedal kayak. So just to go over this, guys, obviously, like we say every episode, our biggest sponsor is Outdoor Alphas here. We're both on the pro staff. Today they wanted me to talk about this new reel that they have in store called the Akios. I hope I'm saying that. It was started by a guy named Simon Bradbury. He left Abu Garcia. He was like a designer for them for 16 years for their gears and their bearings. I guess that's the guy who made this setup. He was responsible for Abu's bait casting range of reels as well as many other things. So we've got these in store here. If you use Unpack and Yakin, you can save 10% when you come in to buy them. Jesse, the guy up here at the front desk, told me that this is perfect for saltwater. Everything's anti-corrosive. It's carbon fiber exterior. It's really light. The interior, I believe, are plastic, so it's anti-corrosive. And guys, again, just mention the podcast, save yourself 10%. And pretty much that's what's going to be the spotlight product today for the podcast. So let's get back into kind of just talking about with you. Let's move away from, I guess, the whole ins and outs of the tournament scene. Let's talk about like the behind the scenes for the tournament scene. So day before tournament, man, what are you doing? You're sitting at the house, getting your reels spooled, getting your lines checked, making sure your rods, all the guides are good. Give me your breakdown.
Yeah. No, dude, there's an every. Oh shoot.
Oh,
it's something cracked.
Sorry, guys. We got a new chair here.
We got a new chair.
That one, he gave away too good of a secret. Okay, so what are you doing night up?
So, everybody's got a little different level of seriousness, right, when it comes to pre-rigging.
I remember I like going to some of the tournaments too because you got guys that just show up, get freaking plastered, drink beer, eat good, and they don't give a shit. Like they're doing it for the camaraderie. But some of these tournaments that you're doing, you're zoning in. I'm assuming.
Yeah. So a lot. I mean, most of these guys are going to. They're trying to win. That scene you described, definitely local. Right?
Yeah, that's the local guys. Just the guys that are my wife let me
sometimes, out. Don't get me wrong, we still have a good time, but I think we usually get there 2 days before.
Okay,
that's the normal, right? Everybody gets to practice, but there are.
So you got to have a job that's open to letting you do this stuff. Would you say most guys are working regular jobs, living regular lives?
A lot of them have the type of jobs that allow them to you know what I mean?
That's like how passionate these guys are. They'll find a way.
Yeah, they find a way to get there. And but you got to get there 2 days before, and then every day you wake up about 5:30 in the morning, right? Mm-hmm. And you get out to the water on tournament hours because you got to see what these fish are doing during tournament hours, right? You don't want to be starting your day at 10 o'clock and you're missing the whole understanding of the bite at between that 7 to 9 bite, right, or something early. So you gotta treat it like you're in a tournament every day in practice. You gotta go out there. Everybody. Some people will tell you.
Wait, when you're practicing, are you shaking off fish?
Yeah. So I personally shake off fish. But I do like to at least catch 2 fish in the area. Just to check the quality and then see if you're dealing with bass.
Explain what shaking off fish is for people who don't know.
Yeah, so if you have like a plastic bait, right, and you got a hook, normally what I do is I usually put a
cook guard.
No, I don't. It's not. It's just a twist on deal, right? You don't actually use the hook. You only use the lock twist.
Oh,
twist lock.
I got you. So you be throwing hookless bait?
You throw hookless bait sometimes.
Just to feel the thunk.
Just feel the thunk, and then you move on. Because, these big girls, man, if you put a hook through them,
they'll be gone.
They won't be there in the area, and it'll be harder, to catch them. Can you still probably catch them next day? Possible, but your chances are less.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So that's just a concept that you're like, wait. There's going to be people that are listening that are just trying to catch a fish.
Oh, no.
You're trying to find them, but not catch
you hear
them.
these stories stories all the time, man. At the, you'll be like, man, I don't know what happened to my fish, man, but I had like 97 inches, in practice both days. And then, the guys that are always telling the stories of, practice was great or they won practice, right, are usually the guys that are, hooking them, right? And it's like, man, you're burning your fish,
Gotcha. So you get up early, you fish condition, you basically practice run tournament day 2-3 times.
Yep.
And different tournaments have different rules with how long before you can practice. Yeah. Some are 24 hours, some are 48, some are a week. Some, I know there's rules.
There's cutoff times and things like that.
You can't take a guide within a month or so on. And so, I mean, this is when you're talking 5 figures in payouts. The rules are stringent. Everything is very.
Yeah, it's got to be you. Once you're a month into the event, no more talking to guys, no more talking to getting information from people that are not part of the tournament. You know what I'm saying?
Gotcha.
So, but every day you get out there, and usually, you don't want to practice too much because you want to be able to rest and get out the next day and actually function. Right?
Do you ever switch times when you fish? Like one day you wake up, you go 5 to noon. The next day maybe check out 10 to 2, or are you running full day, like full days tournament?
No,
day?
the day before, which is tournaments are Saturday and Sundays, right? So Friday you'll be running till about 4 o'clock.
Okay.
3:30. Usually I try to get off the water at least an hour before and get home, and then for me, what I do is as soon as I get off the water on like day one, so depending on what I got bid on, then I go test other stuff out. Like I don't stay there and say, oh, well, they were biting on on this, and
you're trying to think of backup plans
and things, and so I'm trying different things. Yeah, and then of course the next day I test out what worked on day one, and then if it worked, I put it away, and then I go test something else out. Right.
Nice.
And so and I create a milk run for myself. Like I have marked, like I create a route. Right. So, because the last thing you want to be doing is on tournament day, you don't want to be spending time like undecisive, making undecisive decisions, or not making the decisions that you need to be making.
You're wasting time.
Gotcha.
Right. So to be you practice to become effective is what you're saying.
Yes, exactly.
You want to go out there on tournament day and say, hey, let me ask you this. This is just a question personally. What are you more interested in? Getting 5 fish and then upgrading, or you'll take them as they come? What's your strategy? Game day.
On kayak fishing, 5 fish goes a long way sometimes, and a lot of people. Sometimes, most of the times, you think it's going to take a big bag, and sometimes, depending on what fishery it is, it doesn't take what you think it does. Right. So the most important thing is get your 5, dude. Get your 5, and then you can worry about upgrading. And I think that's the biggest thing. Now there are times when you go out and it's a big fishery and you know that there's big fish biting in the mornings. You want to be swinging that big bait. That sometimes goes against the whole getting your 5, because a lot of people are thinking, well, if you're swinging a big bait, you're not going to get a lot of bites. But there are places that you can go and get a lot of bites with big baits.
Gotcha.
So that's part of the practice. Right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's understanding if you can get away with that, right?
Okay.
So there are times that you want to do that, and just practice like you're going to be tournament fishing, and have backup plans. There's a lot of times people go out there and they're like, oh, I already know what they're biting on. Well,
yeah,
like, good luck, dude. It can change
by the day, man. And what's funny is being in the tournament scene a little bit, just like I would say, dabbing my feet in at most. It's funny because all the times that I've done well, man, it's just go out there and fish. I didn't really think too much of it. But I didn't plan to like get really involved like how you are. So I remember one time I went to LBJ, just a random small local tournament here from San Antonio. It was I think it was San Antonio, or what's it called? It's a scene here. It's like just a Facebook group. Casa. I went out with Casa, Kayak Anglers of San Antonio at LBJ. Man, I just went out there and went up this one little creek at LBJ, and dude, the shad spawn was on, and I had caught 98 inches on a buzzbait by like 9 a.m. I think I stopped fishing by 12, and I ended up winning. And I was just like, that's so funny, because that wasn't game plan. It was just using your eyes. And that's another thing that I want to talk to you about. And this, I know you're gonna be able to attest to it. Is some days you have this plan, all this strategy, but you get out there and you see them blowing up on shit, and you're just like, fuck whatever I had planned. Yep, they're eating on top right now. Yeah, and I need 5 fish.
Yeah, right? Yeah. I think the most important thing is you got to fish the conditions, dude. It doesn't matter. So you can go practice and all of that, but you have to be one of those people that understands that you got to be aware of what's going on that day.
Yeah.
Right.
I think
I'm not going to go try to swing a big old bait with calm, slick conditions.
Yeah.
Crystal clear.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, but in practice they were biting, but it was windy, it was sunny, but the clouds, like, you got to know that that's not going to work that day.
Yeah. So
You know what I'm saying?
fish conditions is a very important.
Yeah, you
I
gotta-
think that's what's cool about fishing, bass fishing in general, is that like you need XYZ to be good, but also game day. I mean, the variables are. I think it's honestly one of the hardest, competitive.
Yeah,
because you're not you're it's man and beast. It's not like you're just fit. You're not playing a baseball. I love baseball. You're not playing a baseball against another person. You're not
Right.
playing basketball.
They don't
against
have rules.
Yeah.
and they don't read the same books we do.
They're wild.
Right? Yeah.
They're their
So-
own. They have their own brain. They're a different species.
Yeah.
But it's a $1 billion industry. I mean,
No,
it
yeah,
legitimately
absolutely.
is. So, man, that's awesome that we're on we have everybody from people who, living out their van to people who do it for like highly competitive scenes, and that's just bass fishing. It encompasses everybody.
Everybody, yeah.
And it all started from Lake Amistad bank fishing, way back in the day
Woodlawn
when
Lake,
you were a kid.
Woodlawn Lake too.
And Woodlawn Lake, and we went to motorcycle racing to now a serious kayak angler in the scene.
Yeah.
And that's cool, man. I mean, that really, I just wanted to get to touch base on all that stuff. Let's see, what else do I want to talk about? That I had a question for you. I guess I would say, what's your favorite lake to fish here in Texas? Like, if you had to pick one,
Oh man, if I had to pick one,
and why?
well, I think it's easy to say, right? The most obvious one I think that stands out is obviously Lake Fork, but I don't know if that's my favorite. I think I would have to say, I'm going kind of blank right now. Old Decker Lake is kind of fun to
Decker
fish.
Lake out there in Austin?
Yeah, but
Decker
no,
Lake. Yeah, I mean,
but-
that's a bunch of reeds, isn't it?
Yeah, a bunch of reeds. But no, honestly, in all reality, I think I think it probably would be, dude, I'm trying to think of the name of it.
Where's it at? Located?
Actually, you know what? Now that I've fished it more than 4 times, Cattle Lake is actually pretty awesome.
Yeah, I've got a guy who lives in
Yeah.
the neighborhood I live in, and he has a kayak.
Dude,
and
that
we
lake
ran
is
into each other, and he mentioned it the other. He was like, "Man, I took my wife at Caddo Lake." He's like, "Bro, it's
it,
5 to 10 feet, but there's just trees everywhere. Everything looks the same." He's like, "You'll get lost. You got to be careful. You'll get lost."
It's not a recreational lake, so it's straight up fishing, man.
And it's like on that Louisiana Texas border,
Yeah,
gators and
gators. There's all kinds of species in there, and it's actually a really awesome lake to fish. And there's giants. So
giants. What's the
Yeah.
biggest bass? What's your biggest bass ever? What's your PB?
9.8.
9.8. Where, at tournament day?
It could have been. Was it a tournament day? No, I don't think.
Where
it
was it
tournament
at?
Day. So this one was at Lake Fork.
Okay,
Yeah,
nice,
Lake
nice.
Fork.
Like,
Yeah.
So that's a baby at Lake Fork.
Yeah,
No, just kidding.
No, I got.
That's a big fish.
Yeah, I got multiple 9s, dude, and it could have been 10, and if it was just not spawned out, right?
Gotcha.
You know, and then because a lot of I've caught 25s, and I think I had a 20. I don't know if it was a 26 or 25 and a half.
Let's run that one. We're just touching base on this. I can't even believe I forgot it. And we've mentioned inches here. With kayak bass fishing, that differs from boat bass fishing. We do length. So
Yeah.
you're saying 25, 24. There are people who are, what the fuck, pounds? God
Yeah,
damn,
no,
no, inches. So kayak bassing is 5 fish lengthwise. So when you hear guys in the scene that have been around say, "Oh yeah, that one's going to take 92 inches to win at least. That's going to be a 100-inch lake,"
Yeah.
and you're like, "What are you talking about?" Right? This again, just for people who don't know. You've got to know that some lakes just have long, skinny fish. Some lakes have long, big fish. Some lakes have short, fat fish. Right? Bronick Lake. I love going to Bronick because I think that's the only lake in Texas that you can catch fucking 30 pounds and not break 100 inches. That's my goal, man. man, before I die, I wanna fish Browning in the winter hard, because it is a warmer lake.
And it doesn't get fished much for bass. So
no, it's always a red fish lake. It's always a trolling motor, recreational in that sense. Not so much for like jet skis and whatnot, but like just recreational boats, like pontoons, etc. But I think you can get 30 pounds with under 100 inches, because I've caught so many 5-pounders underneath 20 that I'm sure a 7 or 8 kicker, maybe 2 of those in a day, maybe
lakes,
20,
dude.
maybe 21. But man, that's awesome.
It's that radiation, dude.
Oh yeah, 3 eyes, extra mercury, the whole nine, man, the whole nine. So let's see here, man. I don't want to go too long today. We've got some stuff. My wife's texting me. She flooded the bathroom, so I've been kind of helping her answer that. Go with that. But let's see here. If you could give somebody one tip, man, to get out there and just start fishing, like what would that be, man? What would be a tip that you'd say? Just not so much a competitive guy, just a guy looking to get on the water.
Yeah, if and we're talking about kayak, right?
Kayak.
Yeah. The one thing I would say is find someone locally, get on a social media platform, get with those groups locally, and find someone that you can go out with, and get out there, right? If you're gonna target bass, get your 2-3 rods. And go to Academy. You don't need anything fancy, and you'll be hooked before you know.
Or
it.
outdoor alphas.
Or outdoor alphas, right? Yeah, my bad. That's outdoor alphas. Yeah, but it depends where you're at, right? We're only here in San Antonio, but I think it's important to definitely go out with someone that, and if you want to, if you like it, seek out those people that are doing it religiously, right?
Yeah.
And you start learning things, because we can all say we can learn stuff from people, but sometimes they're not good habits, right? So,
I think that's a really good tip, because I think now that I just reminiscing back on my life, I think yes, the danger factor is less when you have somebody else, but also just being out there on the water with another human, there's something about it. Like every fishing trip I've ever talked about that made me fall in love with being on a watercraft, it had to do with somebody else. It had to do with Travis. It had to do with Roland. It had to do with Manny. It had to do with somebody who I could count on to obviously be there for safety reasons, help with the workload, help with, we like to give each other shit all the time. Like if Manny's catching, I'll ask, oh, was that on? Or I'm catching, Manny's like, what'd you catch that on? You know what I mean? Like it's just
beetle spin, 100 feet of water.
Yeah, right. Yeah, 100 feet of water, beetle spin. So yeah, it's just, you can basically just bounce off ideas, that quality time on the water, fish conditions. Roland and I have been stuck in storms. I mean, it's part of it.
I'll post that video on the Instagram page.
Yeah, you got to. So let's see now I'm just going to get to questions about you, just fun questions. And then we'll probably end up wrapping it up. But, what's your favorite, what's your most memorable catch in tournament? Like a tournament day catch that you remember, like that's the one, that one either solidified a first place finish, that solidified started the pattern that day, that basically that bite is something that is memorable for what reason and why?
Yeah, no, well, I think, now that I remember when you asked me about my big fish, it was during a tournament.
There you go.
Yeah. So that was a Bassmasters tournament out in Lake Fork, and I had a good friend of mine, Carlos Estrada, had just pulled up on me, and he had said, "Hey, guess who has big bass?" And I was like, "Oh shoot,
I know Carlos."
Yeah. He says he got big bass. Man, literally, dude, like the next 2-3 casts, he's right there next to me. I break the big bass, and he's all upset.
That's what
I catch that 9.8, right?
Nice.
Yeah, and not only that is that first day was pretty tough, but and that actually helped me place 4th on that one.
Nice.
So
there's just a memorable catch because it was a PB.
It was a PB.
It was by a buddy.
Yeah.
No shit talking involved, and you were able to kind of put it down. Nice, man. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I didn't know that he was doing the tournaments as much as he was. Yeah. Because I remember him running around with the Casa scene, and then
he's
fell
out of
off
the scene a little bit right now, but he's got his kids, softball and all that stuff.
Gotcha.
But he was doing a couple of tournaments with us, man, and he was running around doing the whole tournament scene for a little bit, and doing pretty good. Carlos is always good for he'd always find a big one at least.
Yeah. Dang, sounds like Travis. Sounds like T-Poke, man. He's always, dude. He may not catch them all, but he'll catch that fucking tank, and you're like, damn. So yeah, man. Okay, so most memorable catch there, and then would you say what is something that what has kayak bass fishing helped you grow as a person? Like what's something that you could say, like whether it's, you know, the competitive nature, whether it's the self-belief, whether it's weight loss, whether it's whatever it is, like what is something that you like that you owe to kayak bass fishing that you're like, man, I don't think I would have that in my life if it wasn't for that?
Well, you know, I think a lot of the times, you know, we grow up, you know, with our own ways of looking at things, right? And I think when you go to, by being able to be around all these different peoples and from all different types, you get to see that, dude, we're not all different.
Yeah,
everybody's when
you log off, when you hang up and hang out, you realize we're really not all that different.
We're not, man. You know, you might look different, a little different skin color, you know, whatever the case is, a little different accent. But at the end of the day, you know, it's like it just unites a lot of people, man. And I think that you know, fishing. Are you
specifically talking big time tournaments? Or are you talking in general?
In general.
Gotcha.
Yeah, in general. But, you know, more so in big time tournaments, because you get in big time tournaments, you're getting them across the nation, right? You're seeing people from all kinds, right? You know, West Coast, East Coast, and
chasing greenfish in a plastic boat.
Yep. And I think I've learned to appreciate that it's not always. I don't know. I guess I could acclimate to different types of style of people, and it's taught me that, you know, we all got different political views and we all got different things, you know, but we all got to coexist, man, and you get to really put, when you get around tournament scene or fishing in general, nobody's even paying attention to any of that stuff, and everybody's just kind of having a good time.
Yeah, everybody's just fishing.
Everybody's
right? Just worried about.
And even if the topics do come up, that like politics comes up or something like that, it's not as bad as like you see you see somebody going to town on somebody's grandma on Facebook. Everybody's like, well, you know, I disagree, you know, on this and that, but it's a lot different, you know. So like I've learned to just you know, look at people different, I guess.
Gotcha. So you feel like you become more worldly is, I guess, the word for it.
Yeah.
Helped you see other perspectives, help you see other walks of life, and you're just like, okay, there's 100 different ways to do one thing.
There's more than one way to skin a cat, right? So.
Yep. Okay, cool, man. Well, shoot, Roland, you got anything?
Yeah, we got a question real quick. Let me pop that open. You might have said this already, but I'm just going to go ahead and ask you again. Where is it? All right, so we got asked.
Oh, this is a live question from.
Yes.
Gotcha.
This is by Stage 394. Paddles versus pedals for river kayaking.
For river kayaking? Well, I'll tell you right now, I used to own a prop style, right? And when you're in the river, you get pretty skinny. So so the prop style probably wouldn't be the best option, because then you'd have to be, you know, if that's what they're referring to, right? You know, the Mirage system is probably best suited for that.
Okay.
Because then that'll allow you to utilize your paddle and the Mirage system. You can get it out of the way without having to do so much manual stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
100%. Yeah, that answers that.
That's a good answer right there. Good answer.
Yeah, that was a really good answer.
Any more?
No, nothing from me, man.
Nothing from you? Awesome, man. Well, dude, we could, like I said, we could talk for hours. I know.
Oh, wait. I do have one question.
Yeah.
Okay.
And this is one for me and the boys in the private group chat. Have you ever tied, this is a stupid question, but have you ever tied a knot to an expensive bait and then lost the bait from the knot?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think I bought $120 swim bait deal, and I think it saw the water. It saw the water twice, right? But the one time I was able to retrieve it. The second time I wasn't.
Nice. Hey, we were giving him shit the other day because we were like maybe we should have Roland do a video on knot
tutorials
because he can't tie a knot. One time he tied, like I'll tie a knot for him, because that's what also I love about the podcast is that, you know, you've got a guy who's fished forever and a guy who started 5-6 years ago, but not as religious as even we are now. It's just, he gets out when he can. You know, we talked about it on the first episode. The first day I invited him ever fishing, dude. Like if I invited you to go fishing on the river, how would you show up? Like just to go river fishing during the summer. How would you show up? What would you be wearing?
I'd probably wear just my fishing pants and one of these,
and then like some normal shoes.
Some normal shoes that I can go wet.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, this motherfucker showed up he looked like a Boy Scout. Well, he showed up in some moon boots. Like he was about to hike fucking West Texas. He showed up with some Carhartts with fucking pockets and pockets and pockets, and all, and a blaze like a button up, like a lumberjack.
Oh shit!
And I was like, bro, we're going kayak bass fishing. So it's just funny. So, but he's come a long way, you know. So it's, and the other thing though is the other day we were fishing, you know, here locally, and he had tied on his a swim bait. He had tied on a Citizen, and first cast.
Oh, go.
And then the boys in the group chat were like, "What happens when you let Albert tie your rod, knife?" And I was like, "Look, problem is, I didn't tie that one. I was fucking. We were late. I needed to get on the water. I told his ass, hey, fucking figure it out. I got to fish." And he tied a knot and fucking busted. So maybe that's why he asked that. But anyways, man. So that's Rolando.
Cool,
Rolando Nandin. What's your social media?
Yeah, plug us in with all your
real
social media.
simple. Yeah, I do have a Instagram, Rolando Nandin. My Facebook, Rolando Nandin, is really simple.
Okay.
Nothing crazy. I don't post too much on the YouTube stuff,
Gotcha.
I'm starting to get that going. So
cool. That's what we like.
Yeah.
Everybody's different. We've got guys who don't fish tournaments that have a big social media following, and guys that will kick your ass 10 ways to Sunday on the water that have 2 followers. Like I want everybody. We want to get anybody in there. We want TPWD. We want to all walks of life and outdoorsmanship and angling. And then, you got any sponsors that run with you? Who's your sponsors?
Yeah, so Outdoor Alphas, of course.
Yes,
and
sir.
then Z Pro.
Cool.
And then J Rod Custom Builds and Repairs.
Nice.
So he does my technique rod. So if anybody need to get guides fixed and things like that, he'll
knock it out.
He'll knock it out. Yeah.
Nice.
He's out by the Medina Lake area.
Not whatever's left of it.
Whatever's left, 2%
Right,
of it.
2%. Right. We got to get on there, dude, in some kayaks.
I bet. Yeah.
I need to find, if you comment in the comment section on YouTube, send us a message. If y'all can help me get on that lake right now, because all the damn launches are essentially gone.
think
It's
you can
like
get through
private
Reds.
access. Yeah, but they're like timed, like meaning they don't open till 7 a.m. and for guys like us, that shit don't
Ain't gonna
fly.
work, right?
That ain't gonna work. I want to get there before the sun. I want to be on the water as sun is coming up. I can't be waiting for 12 guys to launch a boat.
Can you still get into that backwater over there where it's behind after the dam?
Behind after the dam.
Yeah, that's behind the dam.
You're talking about below the lake.
Yeah, below the lake.
Dude, that's a trickle too. You're talking about diversions.
Diversion lake,
Yeah,
yeah.
you can, but those rich assholes have made it really hard.
Oh, wow.
Really hard. So you know how you can generally start and just park a truck and shit? You can't. Now they put a fence as legally close to the fucking road as possible. You have to literally launch your kayak just straight
Is
down.
that even legal?
They got money, and
they
in
got
this world,
ways
when
around
this
it.
in this money, you got enough money in this world. You got enough money. Anything is, yeah. So yeah, no, it's hard to launch there now. Hard, but as far as launching on the lake, I think, dude, there's giants in Medina Lake, and I think now in the kayak scene, we
Better
can
be
get
water, bro. I don't want.
Oh yeah. Freaking Manny the other day sent him. I don't know, but I tried to tell him. Manny told him that he was
Boat
like, "Yeah, I
ramp
want to take
11.
my girlfriend go on the water just real quick." He came to pick up his kayak and take mine to borrow it to go fishing with his girlfriend.
Water.
He went to boat ramp 11. Nothing.
Water.
No water. I was like, you should have just went over here down the road. But anyways, man. Well, thanks for coming on.
Yeah, man,
It was
I
a pleasure
appreciate
talking
it.
to you, man. And like I
Appreciate
said, next time we'll talk technique. Next time I didn't want to bore people who didn't know that stuff. I just wanted to talk, to get to know you, how you started, and then of course how serious you take it and all the accolades that you've accumulated. Good luck to the rest of the tournament season in 2023.
I appreciate it, man.
And man, we'll have you on again.
Sounds good, brother.
All right,
Thank you for
guys.
having me on.
We'll see y'all next time. Let's go.